The JC versus Young Kannon battle dropped a week ago. It was a really good battle. When it initially dropped and I watched it, I thought it was a lot closer than what it actually was. But now that I've actually taken the time to really analyze the bars and stuff like that, I gotta say that this was a landslide. Young Kannon really did his thing. I'm not gonna take nothing away from JC and say that he didn't have anything in this battle, but a lot of people called it real close, and some people even have him winning, but I just don't see how that could possibly be the case. So let's go ahead and get into round number one. JC comes out of the gate addressing the fact that a lot of people think he hasn't had any real comp, and let's be honest, he hasn't. Everybody that he's battled, people that we've never heard of, and none of them had the kind of skill that would make you think, that JC's had any real comp. So, that's definitely something worth mentioning. JC also mentions the fact that Kannon called out Swave and then lost to him. His first punch out of the gate would really be the whole put that can in the cannon, you either lose your memory or get flashback, which is like a Kannon camera reference, which is cool. Nothing crazy, He's not the only Kannon rapping right now, so the camera reference is something that we've heard before. He says, I'm on that same shit that got Hussein Lynch at 38 split, make him shape shift. The barrel's longer than the baton that the guy plays with. I liked that line. Then he had another Kannon camera reference, and then the bird control and kernel mode. That was cool. The Coming to America setup was dope with King Joffrey and Semi. I like that, although, like I said, we've heard that before. Then he asked the crowd who would they want to represent Chicago, and of course they picked Big T over Kannon. And what was funny about it was he said, use a bum. They probably would have picked me, which I thought was funny. The Mexican you ain't cut like that line was cool. My favorite line out of this first round, of course, was Whitney Houston. Them lines you use and gonna be the death of you. I thought that line was dope. And then you die as soon as them coins flip. Another good line was silence the peace, sound like the torch blowing in Morse code. I really like that line as well. I love the way JC usually ends his rounds, and this one he just ended it saying, this is your time to prove yourself, and then goes to Kannon, your turn. Young Kannon's first round, he starts off with this whole Midwest states of mind, where he did a play on words using all of the states in the Midwest. I'm not sure if it's all of them. I don't know my Midwest geography like that, but he used Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Missouri. He did an iPhone app punchline, which was eh. One thing that I have to say about Young Kannon's first round, and all of his rounds really, was it was hard to pick up on all the punches and all the things that he was saying because the audio was so bad. So I hope that for Summer Madness and just for all the battles in the future that they work on that. The next line that he had that I liked was the Andrew Jackson line for Green. I'll give his face 20. I like that. The smart guy line was funny. He had the David Blaine, due to the box, not talking about a school when I leave Julian High. I liked that little play on words. There were some quick football references that I liked in Young Kannon's first round, which went into him saying, if Jay think he cold, rock his nation and leave your dame dash. I liked that line. You cop, umbrella, we ain't cut from the same rag. I liked that line. Like flat out hair, like hot combs when that finger wave. Come on, like this, come on. You refuse time bomb, now you facing a terrorist. Like Chris Webber's too late for a timeout. Of course, everybody knows the whole situation with the Fab Five and Chris Webber trying to call timeout. Crazy line, I like that. Kill your chicken in front of your kids. So your Hennessy, I like that. The whole faces death line was cool. Then he did a flip mode setup using Split Star and Raw Digger that I liked, even though I think I may have heard the Raw Digger line before, but still, it was a really good setup. In the midst of that setup, he also mentioned the fact that JC's flow is fancy filler, and that's, honestly what it is if people want to be honest about it. And he ended his first round with a Big T setup that, of course, went too quiet, which was dope. And of course, I am giving the first round to young Kannon. As far as punches, he had more punches. I think he outperformed him because JC's performance style is a little more laid back and like cool. So of course, you know, Kannon was acting out his bars more. Round two, JC had some lines. What did he say? He said, that shit kicked better than when Jackie trained Jaden. I liked that. That was cool. He had a punch where he said, I'll have choirs and morticians pulling the Morgans out. I liked that. Not really a punch, but a cute little play on words. He said, judging a beauty pageant soft, which I thought was funny because, you know, like loads and loads of gay men judge beauty pageants. So I thought that was funny. Gonna win over your dead body, huh? How much them caskets cost? I liked that. Headed back to the PG and don't know it yet. Smack gonna give them real nigga t-shirts and vests. I thought that was funny. He said, you're Will Smith and I Am Legend. You the only nigga on the set. Like, all that stuff. There was some other shit too, but that's like, that was the best out of JC's round. Everything else really in his round, there was a ton of filler in this round. Like, you really got to read between the lines. JC really does a good job of writing to make things sound more than what they are, if you can say that, but it's really fucking filler. Young Kannon starts off with these personals that I didn't really care for, but then he gets into the story about how when they were in St. Louis, JC didn't have any money and Smack gave him $40 to buy drinks and JC pocketed 10. I don't know if that story is true or not, but the way that Kannon told it, it was super, super funny. I'm not going to go into it. If you know New Jack City, then the whole setup will make sense to you. Everything from the Carter to the Rockabye Baby to the Dunham Man, all that was crazy. Then he had a line where he said, your words don't go overhead. You're not Vince Carter, which I thought was dope. Then he said, Jay, you're not a prince because you rap a lot. That was dope. He had a setup, like a business setup, where he used like invest and stocks, and that setup was crazy. Then he went into this whole deal about JC recycling bars, and he recycled the same bars on 3 separate occasions, which was funny. I felt like Kannon really owned JC in this round after that. Like, it wasn't even no point to debate this second round as soon as he got finished with that setup right there. And then he gets into a Texas setup using the Longhorns and then rappers like Little Flip and Slim Thug. His closing line was a Pontiac Bonneville line. Of course, JC is from Pontiac, Michigan, so that line was dope as well. And hands down, without question, Kannon took that second round. First highlight out of JC's round was he started with the fact that him and Kannon have the same hand, and he said that he's Rain Man, so he's gonna play it better. He talked about how Kannon bit off Tay Rock and then admitted it. What's good about being a puncher if the ones that you're landing ain't yours, which was dope. He talked about how he bit off JC's Time Bomb battle and how he bit off a Sue Surf Big T battle, you know, with the whole 10-4 stolen rhyme thing. That was cool. And you like stealing shit. Must be a Mexican thing. I thought this was funny, not because of the line itself, but if you look at 23 minutes and 22 seconds at the security guard on the left, you could tell that line made him salty, which I thought was hilarious. The crowd really liked that line. I didn't really care for that line, but looking at the security guard killed me. Like, I was dead off that. Then he talked about how stealing lines must make y'all adrenaline rush. He had a dope punch where he said, having subs come to your door quicker than Jimmy John's, which was crazy. I like that line. You know, everybody knows that Jimmy John's delivers subs in like 15 minutes or less. Jenny Craig Weight Watchers line, I thought that was cool. I liked it. It wasn't crazy, but I liked it. Gotta step in your hood, like when Rocky was training. That was cool. He referenced how Kannon got at O-Red talking about, you know, how much work and affluence he had got in the URL in a certain amount of time, and then JC flipped it on him like, I'm bigger than you in that same amount of time, which was cool. I don't know how true that is, so it was like, whatever. The Ving Rhames baby boy line was funny. You know, the I came in your house and now I run shit was cool. It was a solid third round from JC. Like I said, there's filler. I don't really know how deep you can say that the round was when a lot of that stuff was just spoken word. Young Cannon's third stuff got real ignorant. It was a funny third round, super personal. And of course he talks about what we all want to hear him talk about, which is that funny ass pop locking video that JC made. So, you know, he starts off with, fuck your pop locking video, nigga. Chi-Town is like the home of juke, and people get down in Chicago. Ain't nobody stunting the fact that you can dance. He said, what's messed up about the video isn't the fact that you know, had a video that you was putting out and you was trying to get some shine. It's the fact that you was running around trying to defend yourself. Real street niggas don't defend what they do. If you are doing your own thing, you shouldn't give a fuck about how people feel about it. People can say what they want to say. If you real, you're not going to care. And you're not going to try and justify your actions. You did what you wanted to do. Which was a good point, a real point that he made. Then he goes into, what if Chris Stokes would have signed you? Yeah, you would have had money and fame. You would have been on TV, dancing, doing what you wanted to do. But then when you get to Chris's office, you got to run and suck his dick, which I thought was funny. He said, you all on Twitter saying you'll do anything for the spotlight, dance, sing, rap, act, play basketball. And he said, so we know for a mill, you'll let Chris Stokes ride your back. He did a slow it down with Chris Stokes and Raspy's names, which was funny. He also did this play on words. It was a setup. It was a slow down. There was a lot of things where he used Grambling State and Virginia Tech. He used room and board, tuition, enroll, and textbooks all in the slow it down, which was really clever. I'm not really sure if you could consider it a slow it down though, because he changed some of the words around on the second go round. So I guess you could just say it was a play on words. Either way, it was dope. I really liked it. He had a minstrel line in there that was cool. My favorite line out of here was, I'll leave your ribs on the whip, like the intro to the Flintstones, which I thought was funny. I liked that line. Then he had this whole pina colada, get that banana to your coconut. That was cool. He used his first name as a line where he said, your name fits you, you know, Julian, you know, Julian. That was dope. Lowercase, when I put dots on J, that was dope. Then he ended it off with, can't claim you a chief when you ain't put in work as an Indian. And that was pretty much the battle. And of course, I got to give this third round to Young Kannon as well, which would mean that I gave Young Kannon the battle 3-0. If you don't feel that way, cool. If you do, you're using that noggin. The battle, like I said, on first look, it looks closer than what it is, but when you actually take the time to pick apart the bars, the more complex setups were coming out of Kannon's mouth. I feel like this is Kannon in rare form. I'm really looking forward to seeing him more, because prior to this battle, like I said, I've watched his battles before. He was never anybody that I really checked for like that. I'm glad that he got the opportunity to battle somebody like JC and write for somebody like JC, because it really showed me that there's more that means to I when it comes to Young Kannon. And yeah, I'm looking forward to his next battle. JC, on the other hand, I will say this. JC is an awesome writer. I think that, you know, personally, he should spend a lot more time working on getting more punches in. And I'm not saying that because I know a lot of people say, well, it ain't all about punches. It's about grown man bars too. But the problem is, JC doesn't write grown man bars either. It's really a lot of filler. He's, you know, basically saying you ain't no real nigga. In 4 bars, you have to say somebody ain't a real nigga. You can say that once and then get to a punch or get to a joke or whatever the case may be. And a lot of the times he's getting you to nowhere. You know, in the second round in particular, I think maybe he had 4 punches, maybe. Some of the plays on words that he had within the round were cool too, but that's not enough to win you battles, I don't think, especially when you start battling more versatile people that are higher up on the totem pole. Like I said, you can do that with some of these PG guys, but you know, if you come across like if you come across a guy like QP, I think QP does JC's style a lot better than JC does it, because of the fact that, like I said, JC's charismatic, QP is charismatic, but QP gets those punches in. And I might say whatever I got to say about him. I've said it about him in other blogs. He doesn't write thirds sometimes, and that bothers me. But is when he puts in work, he puts in work. He's funny, he's charismatic, and he has punches. And that's what JC's lacking, the punches. Or at least, if you're not going to have all those punches, all that stuff needs to be leading to something, leading to a crazy haymaker or something. Like, you can tell us a story as long as it's leading to something that's going to shut the crowd down. People are going to be mad that I say this, but I feel like young Kannon bodied JC, and the only reason why maybe it doesn't look like a body is because JC's confident and he comes off like a winner, you know. And regardless of the crowd, I've watched this battle enough times to know that my mind's not going to change. And the better man won. You know, JC is going to live to fight another day. And I'm looking forward to him improving, because filler ain't going to get you nowhere. You know, it might be good in a cipher, but not in a battle. You got to start fighting your opponent and not trying to out-finesse your opponent. So that is my review for the young Kannon JC battle. Be sure to leave your reactions down in the comment section below. If I missed any punches that you liked, leave those down in the comment section as well. Don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. And I will see y'all in my next video. Peace.